This is not a story about spiritual victory, nor about enlightenment. It is a journey through the collapse of identity, and the ego's last trick, believing it can heal its own past. Chapter 1. The Broken Mirror. There was a man named Robert Adams. Before the mirror, he saw fragments of himself scattered across 1,000 memories. He tried to join the pieces, believing the past could be healed. But every attempt opened a new crack. The mirror seemed to laugh at him, as if saying, "The one who tries to heal is the wound itself." Robert decided to continue, believing understanding could free him. He didn't know he was only beginning the most subtle cycle of delusion. Chapter 2. The Call of Silence. A voice arose within him, calm and without origin. It said that silence was the key. Robert followed the call, diving into practices, meditations, long hours in search of stillness. But the more he sought silence, the louder the inner noise became. The silence he chased was still a desire. And every desire is noise. Chapter 3. The Map of Pain. Robert began to draw a map of his own suffering. He named the wounds, organized memories, classified emotions. He believed clarity would bring healing. But the map grew, gaining new borders. Each memory reminded him of another. Each pain hid 1,000 more. In trying to understand pain, he multiplied it. Chapter 4. The Master and the Echo. One night, he met a man who said nothing. Robert waited for teachings but heard only the sound of the wind. He grew irritated, then moved, then irritated again. The other's silence was like a mirror. It returned to him everything he still could not accept. The Master did not teach. He only reflected. Chapter 5. The Ancient Remedy. Robert returned to old formulas. Therapies, mantras, revisited memories, rehearsed forgiveness. Sometimes he felt a brief lightness and called it progress. But the emptiness always returned, demanding more. The remedy became an addiction. And the seeker mistook relief for transformation. Chapter 6. The Past Defends Itself. The memories began to react. What he tried to heal grew stronger. Dreams, recollections, old faces resurfaced. The unconscious does not allow erasure. The past does not wish to die. Every cure was a threat, and the mind defended its own prison. Chapter 7. The Beauty of the Wound. Amid exhaustion, Robert noticed something unexpected. There was beauty in pain. Something alive, pulsating, as if the wound were also a window. The attempt to heal it always closed it. Perhaps healing is not erasing, but understanding that what hurts is also what lives. Chapter 8. The Labyrinth of Light. Lucidity became a labyrinth. Every understanding brought another doubt. Robert believed he was becoming enlightened, but the light blinded him. He saw everything, but nothing had a center. The search became self-devouring. Chapter 9. The Voice of the Healer. Robert began telling himself that he was healed. He repeated it like a mantra, and the more he said it, the more he believed. The ego smiled, invisible, for it had just created its most refined form, the self that believes it has transcended. Chapter 10. The Last Remedy. The Master reappeared and asked, "Who was healed?" Robert could not answer. The question cut through him. Something inside began to crumble. Chapter 11. The Holy Pride. Now, Robert believed himself above pain. He looked at the suffering of others with pity. He felt pure, enlightened, free. But his purity was disguised pride. The ego had dressed as a saint. Chapter 12. The Discourse of Nothingness. He began to speak about emptiness, to teach what he did not understand. He repeated words like consciousness, silence, non-duality. But deep down, he sought approval. Nothingness was his new stage. Chapter 13. The Game of Mirrors. Each person who listened to him reflected a part of himself. Admirers, critics, disciples, all were reflections of the same fragmented ego. Robert multiplied into voices, and none were true. Chapter 14. the blind spot of light. The more he saw, the less he perceived. The light he believed he possessed blinded him to his own shadow. Wisdom had become control, and control is the denial of the real. Chapter 15. The Temptation of Purity. Robert tried to purify himself, to eliminate desires, erase memories, deny the body. But purity is also a form of violence. What he called discipline was fear, the fear of still being human.